Well, Slava Isusa Christu. Glory be to Jesus Christ and glory be to our Creator. We are here on beautiful Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. My name is Diane Boyko and I'm a friend of Marion's. And I was so pleased that she asked me to join you here today. So Vitayamon, welcome to Saskatchewan's award-winning author, Marion Mutala's first Zoom book launch. This launch is coming to you live this afternoon, as Christina mentioned, from Musée Ukraina Museum. I'm deeply honored, and all of us are, to celebrate with Marion and our virtual audience the launch of an incredible collection of 4 stories called Babushka, Magical Ukrainian Adventures. This compilation is a beautiful hardcover coffee table book with stunning illustrations by accomplished artists Amber Reese, Wendy Siemens, and Olha Tkachenko. 10 years. Yes, it's been 10 years since Marion's first book called Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Christmas was published. And to celebrate this achievement, Marion has created a collection of 3 of her national award-winning books: Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Christmas, Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Easter, and Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Wedding. And now has added a brand new story for your enjoyment. And this series is called Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Journey. Natalia goes to Ukraine with her Baba and Dido to visit Kiev and see all the beautiful historic sites of Ukraine. In honor of our ancestors, our Babas and our Didos, our parents and our families, we offer bread and salt, a symbol of eternity, prosperity, and hospitality in life. And we also offer a toast to our ancestors who emigrated to Canada and brought with them their great faith, our lovely Ukrainian traditions and culture. Because of their hard work and perseverance, Ukrainians can freely celebrate the spirit, soul, and talents of Ukrainian people. In this great country called Canada, we have our home. So may God continue to bless us. Хай нас Бог благословить, дай Боже здоров'я. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marion Mutala.
Vitayamo, I have a song for you I wrote called Because. Birds still sing in the treetops, the wind blows at night. I see special meaning in the dead of the night. There is a time to honor, there is a place to be. There is a depth to our living beyond you and me. So many times I've wondered about places I've never been. We need fulfillment in how we live. This special day, I'll give homage to those who came before. It was their strength and courage brought to Canada from afar. Those were our Babas and Didos. I can't imagine that. To embark on a journey destined for who knows what. It was a trek not forgotten, a spirit of faith galore. It could not have imagined what would be in store. Well, I just want to say thank you, Diakuyu. A prayer to the heavens is all I can do. Because of their great love and wisdom, I am here today to celebrate Ukrainian traditions in a very loving way. So raise your glass treetops.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
So much.
Marion. I'm really grateful to be part of this event. Marion, as you can see, has joined us on the Zoom meeting. And just to give you, all of you who are joining us, an idea of what the setup is for today's event. We are indeed live, as you obviously can tell. And it was very kind of everyone, Martin Vinyuk, Diane Boyko, and everyone who offered this space at the Ukrainian Museum in Saskatoon's West End. We are, of course, appropriately social distanced. The masks go on and off, just to let everybody know. But we felt it was important to do this event with some connection virtually, obviously, with all of you, well over 60, 70 people who are joining us, but also to have a connection to our roots as well, our cultural roots, our historical roots. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of nice, even though we're all 6 foot plus apart, it's kind of nice to see people once again as well. And what a perfect way to do it than with Marion. Marion, I want you to give the people who are joining us an opportunity to
Discover
what led you to this anthology. I understand you've put several books together, but you've also written more. And it's been almost 10 years, hasn't it? Since one of your books has hit the shelves.
Yes. So it's Vitayamo and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today. It is my honor and pleasure to be here. And this journey has started for me a long time ago. I've always wanted to write. Even when I was in school, I wanted to write. And when I was 12, I got my first guitar and started singing songs and writing. But in 2009, I went with my 3 lovely sisters, Angie and Margaret and Aline, and we went to Ukraine in 2009 and saw where our ancestors came from and in Western Ukraine. And then when I came back, I wrote my first story, which is actually the last story now in my collection, my 4 collection books with Baba going back to Ukraine. So it's kind of a long journey 10 years later. So I've actually written 15 books in 10 years. So it's been a huge blessing and enjoyment for sure.
Yeah, it's enjoyable to see your books again. And just for everyone's edification here, bear with us because as a couple of people have so kindly pointed out, we are in the same room and we have 2 separate computers. So there's going to be a little bit of echo when I'm speaking to Marion, but I promise now that I will mute my microphone after every question. So Marion, what does it feel like now? Because you've got this compilation, you've got this collection now, and you're sort of up there with the authors who have really achieved a lot, and you've been achieving a lot over the years.
Well, I always say if you want to change your life, write a book. And it's been so much fun. And what's made it really fun is to hear other people's stories, telling me about their life stories or Baba and their Didos. In my book, my actual picture of my Baba and Dido are in there. And that was kind of my inspiration for my first story. And she has a babushka on. Baba Tessie Wozniakowski was my grandmother, and Stefan Dubik was my grandfather. They settled in Hafford area. That's why the story takes place in Hafford. And my mom, I took pictures of my mom, who was Sophie Mutala, and with her babushka on when she turned 80. And that was kind of the inspiration. I noticed they wore babushkas all the time. So I knew that I had to get Natalia back to Ukraine somehow. And what better way? A babushka, flying babushkas. They're magic babushkas, actually.
When you started this, did you believe that Natalia was going to, go on to like 4 or 5 different books?
No, actually, I still remember in 2010 when my first book came out, and I got in my living room and I opened it up and I danced around my living room because I just wanted to see my book and see it in print. I never thought about selling it or getting it out there or speaking, and 10 years later, but it has been a beautiful journey. And I am so grateful, and I'm grateful to all of you, the audience, for buying my books and supporting and encouraging me. I've received beautiful notes all the time and emails from people and telling me how they appreciate my work and coming up with ideas for future books too. So Thank you.
Well, that was my next question. I mean, where do you go? Does Natalia go anywhere from here? Where do you go
Well, I
from here?
have to keep secrets, but I'm working on a play. So I can tell you I'm taking a little different direction. It'll have a Ukrainian content in there a little bit, but I'm working on a play. So that's a future direction for me for sure.
Now, I remember sort of with pleasure a few weeks ago when we put up the video on Facebook of you opening up the boxes of books, and even it translated well on video how excited you were. But I'd like to hear from the author's mouth when you got the books for this anthology. Seriously, what did it feel like? Tell us what it was like when they delivered all the books to your place.
Well, they delivered them to my place, 1,500 books, and I live in an apartment. And so we had to get them through the doors. And that was the hard part because of COVID. They couldn't bring them up to my apartment. So a friend and I had to haul them all the boxes upstairs. That was quite a chore. But when we finally got them upstairs inside and I opened them and looked at it, I was shocked because I didn't know what it was going to look like. You imagine things in your head what it was going to look like, but I didn't really know what it was going to look like. And when I saw it, I kind of took back because I didn't realize the cover was going to be white. I knew it's going to have gold and bars around embroidery around the edge, but I wasn't really sure what it was going to look like. And then when I saw it and realized it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, but it was a surprise to me too, because I was not sure what the end product was going to be like. It was a beautiful moment, though.
And even the back cover is beautiful too.
Those Motanka dolls, I have one here that a lady made for me to match the book that Ola made such beautiful illustrations. I just want to thank all my illustrators. Amber Reese did the wedding book. Wendy Siemens, she did the Christmas and the Easter book, and Ola Tichenko did the illustrations for the cover and my new book going back to Ukraine. So gorgeous. Illustrations, really tell the stories, helps sell the story. So thank you. And my publisher, Heather Nickel, for her foresight. She's a genius. She is the one that suggested that I take, when I submitted my manuscript to her, she says, Marion, you have enough for 5 books here. So that's where we took them apart, Christmas, Easter, wedding, and so that's kind of that journey too, for sure.
Now, you did sort of separate all the individuals that have been part of the book, which is, it's nice to hear that you sort of had a team here and there that helped you out. But what were some of your other inspirations as well?
You mean in the writing process? Yes. Well,
yeah, sure.
The interesting thing is I've joined the Saskatchewan Writers Guild in 1996, and they have sent out. You can meet like-minded people through that. And a good friend of mine, the late Wes Frunk, we used to do a lot of book readings and stories together. We even had a group called The Splat, and we were a writers group, a Saskatoon writers group, and meeting together and all that time. So you just meet so many fascinating people. You meet like-minded people, and it's just a journey. I feel really blessed. I just feel very blessed and humbled by the whole experience. And just grateful.
So just as we recap, and then we've got a little special surprise as well, something that you'll be able to find in the book as well, but we're actually going to reenact it here because we can. But once again, just tell us about the book itself and about the different books that are inside the anthology.
Well, I'm going to read a little bit from it, but especially a new one, but it's Magical Adventures in Ukrainian's Past. So if you see, it has the Christmas story, which you're probably familiar with, and then the Easter and the wedding. But then the new one is the actual one where we go back to Ukraine, and you'll see, and she visits her relatives in Ukraine, just like we did. So even though the story is fictional, I still count it historical fiction because, except for the flying babushkas, we don't see magical flying babushkas, but also the details are true. All the sites in Ukraine are true. St. Sophia's Cathedral, the underground tunnels, all the things we experienced when I went with my 3 sisters are in the book. So we have, and the same with the Christmas traditions, they're all true. The Easter traditions are all true. I did a lot of research. I consulted a lot of experts and made sure that they were accurate. So you have your story about Natalia and the love of family, which is so important to me, and also and your cultural traditions. But the thing is, the historical traditions are true and accurate. So this book, Babushka, Magical Ukrainian Journey, is my new one, and it has a stork. And when we went to Ukraine, you see storks everywhere. You see storks everywhere. And it's so interesting to see that. And so that is incorporated. Ola incorporated those things into the book. So if I can just read you a little bit from the one going back to Ukraine. Natalia pulled on her jacket as she danced her way outdoors. It was an early summer morning, but she wasn't cold. She was anxious to play outside in the sunshine by her favorite spot, her family's pond. Natalia's family farmed near Hafford, Saskatchewan, and she loved country life and the outdoors. She spun around, tossing her blonde braids back and forth, imagining she was a graceful ballerina, or maybe one of the older girls she knew, whose long ribbons whirled around as they twirled around in a dance. As she danced, she sang a children's folk song, loud squawking greeting her arrival. Oi, what a racket, Natalia thought. A flock of large white birds with long black legs had paused their journey for a meal and a paddle in the pond. Natalia settled herself on a little rise near a tree to watch them, intrigued by their antics. They mostly ignored her, busy as they were, wading along the shore and eating. And then, of course, she takes off, and there she is, as in all my books. And what's interesting about all my books is they all have my grandparents' pictures in the actual picture of my Baba and Dido on the wall in a photograph somewhere in all my books. And also my mom, who is the Baba in the story, with her Babushka in the sky somewhere, and that she's flying back and taking her journey. And it is a beautiful book. I'm not going to share any more with you, but it is a beautiful book. And I'm so proud of it. And it's something that it's a legacy for all future generations. You know, my mom has passed on, my parents have passed on, a lot of my relatives, my aunts and uncles who were so musical too. The Dubeks, they had a band in Hafford, and they've all passed on, but this is their traditions. They passed on to me and my family and my sisters and my brothers. And so it's there documented for the world to enjoy. So before we share something special, I just want to thank everyone again. And I'd like to thank Christina for emceeing today and doing this virtual launch with us. I also like to thank Angie, my sister, for playing the accordion so beautiful. She always supports me. Thank you, Angie. And Diane for doing a beautiful job welcoming. She does an excellent job welcoming all the time. And Martin, he's my creative consultant. He hides in the background. And Bernadine, who has a beautiful surprise for us, which we'll share with you in a minute. And of course, the Hermata Legacy Fund and the Creative Saskatchewan, thank you for your support. And anyone that supported and buying my books over the years and sharing my story, thank you again. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It's been a wonderful journey, Diaku. And of course, if you ever have any questions, you can always contact me through my email or phone me or text me. Yes.
Marion, there's something in the book, right, that that people can actually make for themselves.
Oh,
is that right?
I forgot about that. So as you know, all my books have a beautiful recipe at the back. So we have a beautiful recipe at the back, and this one is a tart. So on that note, Bernadine has made this lovely tort for us. Look at this tort. Thank you, Bernadine. And we're going to be eating this tort virtually, and I wish I could share it with you. I know Bernadine would like to share it with you too. And look at this tort. It has 6 layers. It has walnuts and pecans, and also it has prunes in between. Bernie, you want to say something about this beautiful tort? But oh, it looks so delicious.
I won't say much, but Marion, thank you. Thank you for your lovely talent. May God continue to bless you to the future. Thank you for sharing your stories with us.
You're welcome. And Diaku, thank you again, everyone. And I'm going to have a bite of this tort. Are you going to have a bite of this tort?
Smacznego.
Smacznego.
Marion, why don't you show it a bit closer to the camera, please? I know you're going to end up taking the whole tort with you, but
Yeah, bring it.
Or even just the piece. Yeah.
There's the tort and there's the beautiful piece. I don't know if you can see it there. Look at the layers. It's just, and it's delicious. It is absolutely delicious. And of course, I have to have a little shot on that too. We better say a Babushka. Right? Babushka, everyone down the hatch. Thank you again. It's been a blessing to be here. Thank you, everyone. God bless you.
And thank you, everybody, for.
Hi, I'm Heather Nicol from Your Nicholsworth Publishing. I'm proud to be the publisher and part of the team behind Baba's Babushka, Magical Ukrainian Adventures, a collection of stories by Marion Mutala and beautifully illustrated by Wendy Siemens, Amber Reese, and Olha Tichenko. Family connections are the threads that help hold the cloth of our lives together, especially in times like these, as are faith and tradition. These stories are about the enduring bond between a young girl and her Baba, and the fantastic adventures and understanding of her family she experiences with every journey. My publishing journey began with my own grandmother, an author and poet whose works inspired the creation of Your Nicholsworth Publishing 22 years ago. And Marion and I are pleased to offer this keepsake collection of previously published stories, some of which are now out of print, together with a brand new adventure that closes the whole series, just in time for Christmas. Each adventure in Ukraine about Christmas, Easter, a wedding, and a trip to Kiev is researched in detail, and many thanks and much gratitude is due to the rest of the team who made this book the best it could be. Laurie Burton and Donna Grant for their storytelling and editorial skills, Donovan Bergman and Friesen's Printers for the amazing book production, and Creative Saskatchewan for their generous financial support through their book production grant. Congratulations, Marion, and to Wendy, Amber, and Olha on the launch of Baba's Babushka, Magical Ukrainian Adventures. I'm so glad you've been part of the journey.